Hello everyone, welcome back to the Art Guild. So today I will be doing a speed paint of me using the Arteza Gouache for another portrait, and I feel like I didn't exactly explain my process very well last time, so I'm just going to be re-explaining it again. So my first step is using a super watered down layer of what I call the blush and shader tones. Pretty much the blush tone for me when I make skin tones is most of the time the more pinkish or reddish tone, and then the shader is the more orangey or like sometimes brown tone. And for today's portrait, for the skin, I used pale yellow, rose, vermilion red, and I think for the hair I used burnt umber and the rose, in a mix of the rose. And then I added, it took so much pale yellow to get the tone that I wanted. And then I do a thick layer on top of, and then I do a thicker layer on top of it. So then whenever I decide to blend things on top of it, it will be a nice smooth blend. The way that I mix blush is by adding, like I said, more of the blush tone, and then adding a tiny bit of the shader tone. And for this piece, the shader tone was the vermilion red, and the blush tone was rose. And to blend out like anything using gouache, pretty much what I do is I clean off my brush and use it almost dry, and then very lightly spread out the colors. And sometimes you can use a slightly, like I don't even use a wet brush sometimes to blend everything out, because then it lifts all of the gouache underneath it, and I do not like that look.
Right there on top of the moon, we could sit and do nothing. I wish we were bold to just fly away.
And when I mix shade, like when I shade the face, I do the exact opposite for when I when I use the blush. So I mix more of the shader and then a tiny bit of the blush color. And when I shade the face, I have a very stylized version. This is what I've just done with gouache over a long time. Most of the time I will do it in the ears, underneath the chin, which is kind of surprising, underneath the eyebrow, and anywhere else that seemed like it would have more shadow underneath it. And for the eyes, with that eye crease, most of the time I'll put highlight on the closest part to the eye. Yeah, I think you can see it right here. And then I put more shading above that crease. And most of the time I'll put shading underneath the nose as well, and for a little bit on the lips. I apologize for some lost footage here. I completely forgot to start recording again for the highlights. And for highlights, I'll just add more of whatever the white that I used. And I'll put highlights on most of the time. Like I said, you can see it now on the eyes, the cheeks, the weird little like line that I put for the nose to make it. I just started doing that recently, so I've been putting highlight there so you can see it. On the front of the nose, and like I said, on both cheeks, and then most of the time I'll put it on the tip of the ears and underneath the eyebrows. Oh, and whenever I color in eyes, I use a very watered down mix of most of the time just one color. I start the hair, most of the time I'll start with the eyebrows, so it'll be the thickest and like darkest tone. And sometimes if you put really dark tones on or around a face, then the entire face can look a lot different. For me, I actually liked the way the darker stuff was looking with the face, so I didn't have to put any more shadows or highlights on the face again.
Right there on top of the moon, we could sit and do nothing. I wish we were bold to just fly away. I don't wanna care, just be here and I'm good alone. I'll be okay, miss you like an old friend. Too scared now, thinking I should call up all night. I think it's hard how we always wait another day, how we watch things that kids walk away. Let's live down by the water, watch it come and go home. I wish we were bold to like sail away. I just don't wanna care. Can you be here and I'm good alone? I'll be okay, miss you like an old friend. Too scared now, thinking I should call up all night.
I don't usually do line art, but I will use the hair color. The hair color is most of the time the darkest color, and for this one it is. So I'll mostly use the hair color and color in the eyelashes with that. And the thing about when I color in the eyelashes, I have to use my smallish brush is actually the I think it was the hog hair. It's the Maya gouache paintbrushes. And for this piece, I just decided that I was going to do a little bit more line art. I should have, now that I'm looking back on it, I should have put it on the nose, but I didn't. But I still like the way the piece turned out. So I just have to point this out for right now. This color is actually the vermilion red. It's a very, I think I put some pale yellow with it, but as you can see, it's a lot more orange than red. And I would say that's because of the pale yellow, but it's not actually. The vermilion red is just a lot more orange than red, in my opinion.
Right there on top of the moon, we could sit and do nothing. I wish we were bold to just fly away. I don't wanna care.
And this is the finished piece. I really hope you guys enjoyed my gouache process video, and I hope you have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this video. Thank you. Bye.